We're going to cover some of the latest theories about energy medicine and the subconscious versus conscious mind, the mind-body connection, and you know, some of this is theoretical, but I think what you'll find is that it really makes a lot of sense. Some of these latest theories really make a lot of sense, and we're going to get into holographic memory and just, you know, what is a hologram and how that relates to some of these latest theories about how we store memories. And to start out, let's just start out with the subconscious versus the conscious mind. Now, we are potentially recording every experience that we have in our subconscious mind, but we only can store so much in our conscious memory. So those memory banks really can only retain so much. And if that's true, then it really makes sense that we have this subconscious memory and that there are potentially ways of accessing it as well. I'm going to get into the mechanics of that here in this video, but I want to start with explaining that this is partly a book review of one of James Oschman's books, which is called Energy Medicine in Therapeutics and Human Performance. And that book is an amazing book, and I have it right here. And I highly recommend this and his other work to anyone that's interested in this topic. So if you want to dig deeper, you can always do that. But I also recommend his first book, which is called Energy Medicine, the Scientific Basis. And this is kind of almost a prerequisite to this book. James Oschman is a biologist, and so he comes at this from a scientific perspective, which is really awesome for this field. If you already have a background in energy medicine and understand the basics, you know, you might jump right to Energy Medicine in Therapeutics and Human Performance, which is this book. But if not, then this would be a good place to start, is Energy Medicine, the Scientific Basis. Because this is a very heavy book. It gets into some depths, and we're going to cover some of that here in this video. So how could we possibly record every experience and every interaction that we've ever had throughout our entire lives in our subconscious memory? And this gets into tissue memory, and soft tissue memory is what it's referred to as. And this is the idea that we have this living energy matrix throughout our cytoskeletal system, which is essentially the structure of our cells, and then throughout the soft tissue throughout our body, and throughout the extracellular matrix of the body. So this is the collagen structural framework of the body, and this forms literally a structural water flow that has a living matrix throughout it, and it wouldn't work without the water. So these are hydrated tissues that are throughout our body, basically what makes us the structural being that we are. And this is with any mammals. This structural living water matrix of our collagen protein structure has the characteristics of an energy flow throughout it. And this is an alternate pathway to our neural pathway. So the neural pathway is like what we're recording in our conscious brain, but the living matrix, or the energy pathway, is actually a faster communication mechanism, and it's recording all of our experiences to our subconscious mind and literally into our tissues. And this gets into why practitioners often experience this idea of soft tissue recall. And this is where they might be, a massage therapist might be working on one particular area of a client, and they get all of a sudden kind of a jolt of energy, and then an image in their brain, in their mind. They can see a particular image, and that may have been a release of some sort of traumatic memory that's literally lodged into that particular tissue of the body. And that has not really been explained aside from these concepts of the living energy matrix, or the living matrix of the body. And this is apparently a very common experience among practitioners, energy medicine practitioners, and massage therapists. So that gets into, well, if we're really recording all this data from all of our experience into our subconscious, is there actually a way of accessing that? And that gets into a very interesting topic, which is about the holographic mind, or holographic memory. And this is, now a hologram is an image which is actually, depending on the angle that you view it, it's going to look different. And it represents a three-dimensional image in a two-dimensional slide or hologram. And depending on the angle you're looking at it, you're going to see a different image. And this has to do with the interference pattern with the light based on the angle that you're viewing from. And so we may actually have holographic memory in that our brain is able to scan through our tissue, and based on the angle of the scan, we may be able to reflect on certain memories at certain times. But if we scan at a different angle, we're seeing different interference patterns among these holographic stored memories in our tissues, and therefore would recall different memories. And this gets into the Fourier analysis, which is explained in the book, which is the mathematical calculation of what our brains would be doing to essentially break down those scans and then be able to recall different things at different times. So it's pretty deep stuff, but it's very interesting, and it really makes a lot of sense. And, all this stuff about the living matrix and the energy flow in the body, and it being a unique communication mechanism that goes on the side as a separate communication mechanism compared to the neural network, or what our conscious memory is recording. It lends some credence to some of the energetic modalities and the energetic products, like, for example, these 7.83 hertz energetic bracelets that we have. And that's not what this video is about, but I have other videos that explain these, so you can look in the link in the description here on this video, or on this page, and learn more about that. But these are important mechanisms for also understanding why we're so affected by electromagnetic fields and non-ionizing radiation, even if we don't necessarily all get immediate symptoms from it, but that we can have cumulative effects, because these effects are actually stored in our soft tissue and then are accumulated, and then eventually we reach a breaking point and start getting all these unknown symptoms, and we don't know what they are, but yet we're, exposed to all this radiation from cell phones and Wi-Fi and computers and all this stuff all the time, and it's building up in our system and leading to an eventual collapse of a lot of what we rely on in our normal neural communication networks. So these systems intercommunicate with each other, and so this is a really important understanding in the basic communication networks of our body. So that kind of gets us started. Like I said, to dig deeper, check out either of those books. James Oshman is a great author, great writer, very articulate on these subjects. But let's get a little deeper with this. So we've already covered the living matrix, which is the extracellular structural framework of the body. This is the soft tissue framework, the collagen, the structure that makes up our extracellular matrix in the body. And this would not be a flow of energy pathway if it weren't a hydrated pathway. So it's this flow of water, of energetic water, that's essentially allowing this to be a communication pathway. But it goes also into the cells. And that's where the cytoskeleton is important to understand. So the cytoskeleton is the structure of the cells, and it's made up of these microtubules, which are essentially forming these structural, this is what keeps the cell in its structural frame and keeps all the different organelles in their places and allows them to interact and do all that they do, including the mitochondria, and all the other organelles in the cells are held together and held in place by these microtubules. And those actually are an energetic framework that may be part of what stores these memories literally in our structure. And these go through this process of polymerization or structure and depolymerization, which is like a breakdown. And this is literally happening when you get a massage or you massage your tissue. You're literally depolymerizing those microtubules, and then they, after you stop massaging it, then they start to repolymerize and create that structure again. So this is where these memories can be kind of broken down, and so if we're storing memories in our soft tissue, and then a practitioner might access some of those memories by massaging them and feeling that and getting a vivid image in their brain, what they call somatic recall, then there's something to these theories about how we can open up traumatic experiences and kind of release them through the tissue. So it lends credence to the concept that these memories aren't just stored in our brain, that they're actually stored throughout our body, throughout our soft tissue, and it creates these pretty interesting ideas on how we can access them and how we can clear some of the potentially traumatic experiences that may be recorded in our subconscious mind. And this is really important, I think, for the future and for understanding how all this stuff really works. So getting back to the energy flow in the living matrix and this hydrated energy flow. It's important to understand that there's different types of energy flow. We commonly think of electricity or electron flow when we think of energy flow. And that's obviously something that's going on in our energetic systems. But we also have what's called proticity or proton flow. And this is what's likely going on in the energy flow in the living matrix, because this living water that we have in our living matrix throughout the soft tissue structure of the body, throughout the collagen matrix of the body. And this is where like hyaluronic acid is a common component to it in order to keep that hydration in that collagen network. But the flow of energy has a lot to do with the spin of the water molecules and the fact that water is a polar molecule. So it has an imbalance in the charges. So that allows it to spin around and basically be affected by the energy flow. And so that gets into the proticity or proton flow. And one of the things that's important to understand is that the mitochondria is actually known to be a proton generator, a proticity generator, a generator of proticity. And there's been some imbalances in the understanding of how, and you can explore this deeper in the book, all this energy that's generated by the mitochondria has to get to our different muscle groups and things in order for us to move and to be alive. But with the standard neurological framework and neurological processes, the equation doesn't quite add up. And he gets deep into this in this book. But the bottom line is that this mechanism of energy flow through the living matrix may in fact be the solution to the problem of how all that energy from the mitochondria can actually get to our muscles and be able to do the work that they do and actually not have an imbalance in where that energy comes from. But like I said, that you can explore that deeper in the book. It's a pretty interesting subject. I'll share a quick story that relates to the holographic mind and holographic memory. So I recently had a dream where I remembered something from back when I was in college, and this is something that I don't remember consciously, but in the dream I was talking to someone about it, and I actually even like said it by name. And it just has to do with I was in a fabric dyeing class, and there was a particular type of dye that we used in this natural dyeing class, and I remembered the name of it in the dream, yet I still, even now, I don't remember it consciously. But in this discussion in the dream, I remembered it. So that really makes me wonder if that lends some credence to this concept that maybe in the sleeping, dreaming mind or brain that we're able to scan at different angles our memory banks potentially that are stored in our soft tissue, and that in that dreaming brain I was able to remember it, whereas in the conscious brain I still don't remember it. So it's kind of an interesting aside. It made me think of this. That's pretty much what I wanted to cover in this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a lot out of it. I urge you to check out more at knowingthetruth.com and healthharmonic.com to learn more about other related topics and see what kind of products that we have on healthharmonic.com. And thank you for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts and look forward to hearing from you.